Today I bring you ruminations from the other side of 30, and I'll be sharing with you 9 mindset shifts that started the shift of my reality and will shift yours if you lean in. And I'd strongly advise you to stick around for point number 9. To me, point number 9 is the most important point out of all the points that I'll be making, and it's actually the catalyst that will begin to allow you to explore the rest of the points and embody them in a way that will bring you closer towards your desired reality. Now, if you're in your mid-20s to your mid-30s, you are in that age bracket where you're probably starting to notice the people around you giving in and settling and accepting this idea of life that we've been sold as the reality or the thing that we should aspire towards. You've probably noticed it in conversation with people. You're going back and forth, having a rant about what's going on in your own lives and basically talking to and around the fact that surely there's more to life than this. And at the end of the conversation, the person that you're speaking with comes out with, well, you know, that's just life, isn't it? That's life. Everyone around you seems to be falling in line with and settling for the idea that this is life. This is just how life is and there's nothing that we can do about it. This is reality. And if you're anything like me, when I was in my 20s, that might be starting to scare you a bit. What I could never come to terms with was, if death is the only guarantee that we have as part of this life experience, then why do we spend our lives living in ways that are so cautious, so risk adverse, so fearful? Why do we spend our lives centering this idea of security that isn't actually very secure? I'm here to tell you that even if others have accepted these limitations as their reality, you don't have to accept these limitations as your reality. So here are 9 things that you need to pay attention to if you want to shift your reality by shifting your mindset. Number 1, are you putting your life on hold for a hypothetical future? One day, soon, not yet, maybe later. These are all things that I used to tell myself when I was younger and comfort myself with the idea of one day, this hypothetical future. What we don't seem to understand, or only seem to understand in theory, is that there's no guarantee of tomorrow. There is no guarantee of a future life. Is that something that we really sit with, that once we're born, we are essentially on a journey towards dying, and that we don't know how long or short that life is going to be? It took me losing someone to really bring that home. That idea that life is now, life is in the present. There is no promise of a tomorrow. Life is happening now, and so now is the time to live it. All of the desires that you have and your interests and curiosities that you've denied yourself and pushed to the side to be unpacked in this hypothetical future life. You need to bring all of those things to the front of the class and stop betraying yourself. Don't betray yourself for another moment. You are a unique human being with unique ideas that you are supposed to be giving birth to in this lifetime. But instead, you're making yourself small so that you can be like everyone else. That is a form of self-betrayal, and there are always consequences for self-betrayal. Point number 2, this one life that you have, are you truly living it, or are you caught up in the noise that makes us more self-conscious than it does creative? Are you suppressing your true self-expression and making yourself small enough to fit? Are you being guided by a mindset of scarcity or abundance? Are you truly living, or are you stuck in survival mode? I wish I'd understood in my 20s that there's something about the way that society is designed that made most of my life choices about survival. Everything that I was striving towards had an undertone of fear and scarcity. I had to hold on to unfulfilling jobs because, of course, good jobs are so hard to come by. Instead of pursuing my curiosities and my interests, I had to stay focused on remaining in the rat race so that I could look forward to a promotion or a pay increase. I had to be really cautious with money because, of course, money is so difficult to come across. People would warn me that I needed to start thinking about settling down because if I waited too long, all the good men would be snatched up and there'd be none left. People would tell me that I needed to start thinking about having kids before my biological clock ticked for the very last time. I vividly remember being 19 the first time that someone warned me about my biological clock. All of this stuff keeps you feeling like you better not stray off the track, like you're running out of time and you'd better not get left behind. And it keeps us so busy that we don't even stop to ask ourselves the most important questions. Where is it that you're running to? What is at the end of this race? What do you win? And what is the big rush to get there, wherever there is? And that brings me on to my next point. Point number 3, no need for comparison, just inspiration. As I report to you from the other side of 30, what I can tell you is that I know loads of people that hit all the milestones within what's considered the correct timescales. Some of them genuinely appear to be having an amazing time. Others appear to be trapped and miserable. Some are somewhere in between, and for others the whole thing came undone as we approached our late 20s or early 30s. As a participant of some of those milestones and a bystander for others, what I can tell you is that I would not want to trade my life for any of theirs, and nor should you. Some of the things that people tell me that I should want at my age sound like a prison sentence, and some of the things that I aspire to other people sound foolish or like a waste of time. The bottom line is, your life is your own, and regardless of how you've been told that you should live it, we are not all supposed to live the same life on the same timelines. How do I know that? Because look around you. Look at the variety that exists in this world, in nature, the creativity, the contrast. If the God that created all of this majesty wanted us to live the same lives at the same time, then they would have made us the same. Nowadays, I treat life like an all-you-can-eat buffet. If I see someone that appears to be having an experience that I would love to have, I let it inspire me. I write it down on the menu of life that I'm creating for myself. And you can do the exact same without feeling pressure to live in a way that is uniform with everyone else. Point number 4, you are on the same life cohort as everyone else. Sometimes when I'm out doing my shopping or going for a walk, I look at the herds of people around me and hear the different languages and see all the different characteristics that they have. And I think to myself, wow, in 100, 120, 150 years even, none of us that are walking this earth at this present moment are going to be here. We will be gone, and a new cohort of human beings will have replaced us. And sometimes I think about what an honour it is to share this life experience with this cohort of human beings in all its ugliness and all its beauty. Regardless of what it is and what it isn't, this life experience on this earth as it is now with this cohort of people will never exist again. And that brings something else to my attention. Although someone may have more academic knowledge than you, they may have more experience in certain areas than you do, and they may have more wisdom in certain areas than you do. But when it comes to this life experience, no one knows that much more than you as you might think. I say that because just like you, it's everyone's first time living this life experience as the person that they are now. It's a first for everybody. Everyone is figuring it out as they go along and trying their best. And that includes the people that seem to have it all figured out. That includes the people that intimidate you because they seem to have it all figured out. No one knows all there is to know or all that this universe has to offer. No one knows all of the experiences that one can possibly have in this lifetime or in the next lifetime. No one knows that. Everyone that you come across is in this same life class with you, on the same cohort, journeying through life together. This is why it's so important not to pedestalize anyone above yourself. Even the Bible says that God is no respecter of persons. So with that being said, please hear my warning. Be suspicious of anybody in this life class with you that tries to convince you of your limitations or to tell you what you can and cannot have in this lifetime or where you will or won't go in the next lifetime depending on whether you do X, Y or Z. Just remember that they don't know all there is to know about this universe in the same way that you don't know all there is to know about this universe. So be open to whatever value they may bring, but never be imprisoned by their words. Point number 5, life is a delicious buffet. There are so many lives to live and so many experiences to be had as part of this one life experience. Life doesn't end at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Life ends when it ends. And in between now and that time, you can achieve so much. So much of how we're raised and educated teaches us that the finality of our lives begins at age 30. So we feel rushed and pressured to have it all figured out in our 20s. Go to uni, pick a career, pick a spouse, save every penny, get a mortgage, get married, have a kid, have another kid, quickly, time's running out. These are the things that are framed as respectable accomplishments. These are the things that you'd hear others be praised for, and the measuring stick with which you'd be measured if it looked like you were falling behind. I would never hear much about the goals that you should look forward to achieving in your 30s, between 30 and retirement or between 30 and death. It was almost as if all you should do was establish your career, get married, have kids, and that should be your focus. If there was anything else to look forward to, you could wait until retirement, or maybe wait until heaven. Don't get me wrong, for some people these accomplishments are the entirety of their dreams. And to be able to say that you've achieved all these things is such a blessing. But the idea that whether you do or don't achieve those accomplishments, life sort of drops off in your mid-30s, never sounded juicy or colourful enough for me. It always sounded a bit anticlimactic. So now I'm here reporting live to you from the other side of 30, having failed to meet many of those milestones. And as you can see, I'm still alive. And not only am I still alive, but life has never felt so exciting and so full of possibilities as it does now. And this lets me know that we've been sold the lie of scarcity our entire lives. The lie that we're running out of time, which actually pushes us to live fearfully and in small ways that keeps us uniform with everyone else and keeps us uniform with how we're told that we should live. That's what actually steals our time. What I now know is that we are free. That most of the rules are either flexible or fake, that there are plot twists everywhere and you can literally grab at the ones that work in your favour at any time, at any age. You are a creator and you get to create and curate your own life experience, your movie. You can live so many lives as part of this one life experience, and anyone who tells you that that's not possible is speaking from the prison cells of their own limitations, which doesn't sound like a very fulfilling place to be, but you can't join them there. Now guys, if you're finding this information useful so far, I have collated all of the points in this video, plus some bonus points for you in my free e-booklet, 10 mindset shifts that will shift your reality. And you can check out the description box below to download that. Point number 6, start to understand or be curious about your whys. Why are you living life in the way that you're living it? Why are you making the decisions that you're making? What are your core beliefs about life, about your life and what's possible for you? I'm not talking about what you want your core beliefs to be, but I'm asking you, what does your life show your core beliefs are? Does your life indicate that you value yourself, that you listen to yourself and your needs? Does your life indicate that you show yourself compassion and grace, that you deem yourself worthy of goodness, of an expansive life? It's so important to have these conversations with yourself. And sometimes they can be triggering because they highlight the gap between where we are and where we want to be. But these are the conversations that will make you stop and think. These are the conversations that will disrupt your autopilot settings and bring you to reflect deeply. These are the conversations that will encourage you to look at the trajectory of your life, which will allow you to make the changes that you need to make in order to inch closer to your desired reality. Point number 7, zoom out. You need to zoom out and understand your insignificance in order to understand your freedom. We put so much pressure on ourselves to make it all happen, to figure it out, to get it right, to not get it wrong. And we live in such an individualistic society that this kind of pressure is encouraged because it keeps us feeding a machine that is never full. It keeps you zoomed all the way into your small life, making you feel alone and solely responsible when you're part of a collective. You are held by something so much bigger than you. And you must learn to trust and let go. You must learn to see yourself as a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of a ginormous puzzle. You are a small, small, small piece of the whole picture. You are not the whole picture, nor are you responsible for the success or the failure of the entire picture. So know this and know that you are held. Feel ease that things are working out for you, regardless of how they may seem. Know that things are working together for your highest good. Point number 8. Every day is another chance. Where there is life, there is hope, and every day is another chance to take a step closer towards changing your life. Sometimes when you're in a place that you don't desire to be in, the distance between that place and your dreams can make it feel like it's not a possibility for you. But that is a lie. As you start to do the little that you can do from where you are, and you begin to feel better and better about it, you will begin to notice that your world opens up. You'll begin to see that you have access to so many different and desirable experiences that make your life feel expansive. And it really is in the small things. Having the opportunity to belly laugh, watching the trees, listening to the birds, spending time in nature, spending time around those who inspire you and make you feel uplifted, creating something. The better you feel, the more colours you'll begin to see and experience in your own life, regardless of what stage you're at. Just before I get on to point number 9, if you're finding this information useful, I have collated all of these points plus some bonus points for you in my free e-booklet, 10 mindset shifts that will shift your reality. And you can check out the description box for the link to download that. Point number 9, the renewing of your mind. You must be deeply invested in the renewing of your mind. The Bible says, do not conform to the ways of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is something that I really wish I understood in my 20s. I was always familiar with the scripture, but in terms of its meaning and application to my own life, that only became clear in my late 20s, early 30s. And even till now, that scripture has new meaning for me all the time, and I believe it will continue to do so for the rest of my life. Why? Because the renewing of your mind is infinite. The renewing of your mind should be infinite if you were to have an expansive life. You are a student of life in this life class, and therefore you should always be exposing yourself to new information, which will lead to new experiences. There is no way to live an expansive and fulfilling life while you're still tied to old narratives and old scripts about your limitations. Your mind is in control of most, if not all, of your experiences, and you get to create your life experience based on where you focus your mind. From your mind is where you get to create a life of true freedom, a life that is expansive and full of possibilities, regardless of your age or any other circumstance. It all starts with the renewing of your mind, the undoing and unlearning of what you've consciously and subconsciously been taught up until this point. Undoing what life has continued to show you evidence of because of your focus that has led to deep-seated beliefs that govern your experiences. This realization for me has made life magical, and I know that it's just the start. And that's why I want to invite you on this channel's journey, because video after video, I'll be sharing the steps that I took and the questions that I asked myself that aided in the renewing of my mind and therefore changed my life. I'll be sharing the resources and the experiences that pushed me over the edge of this mindset shift and expanded my world. And I know that this is just the beginning. My channel is for others who are on the precipice. Life for you no longer fits. It's drowning you, it's bringing you down, it's depressing you. It's nothing and it's everything all at the same time. It's full of confusion and other people's voices about what's good and what's bad, what you should and shouldn't do. It's full of self-betrayal. Your own passions, your dreams, your desires are getting smaller and smaller. Your voice gets more and more drowned out. I'm here to share the stepping stones, both big and small, that got me to the other side. So if you'd like to come along on this journey, then please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.